Alright, welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon. We're doing Rod's route. I have a little walkthrough to get the good ending because, honestly, I want to unlock the Waltz and Fritz routes. And, that, needs to be done either through doing the Rod route or the Rumpel route, unfortunately. So, why is Mr. Bert saying, sir, I recorded so many fucking videos today. Shut your face. Anyway, let's get into this. Okay. I'll ask Rod if he'll pair up with me. I know we don't have a good relationship. Rod spared no effort in telling me how cruel I've been to his family. But I feel that rectifying whatever mistakes I made with them might be the easiest way to get 3 good deeds. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. But, Ashiel, didn't he tell you he didn't want to break his curse? Yes, but that may not be the whole truth. He's still reluctant to break his curse despite all the advice I've offered him. Perhaps you'll be able to encourage him where I could not. I don't care if he doesn't want to break his curse. I only need him to help me remedy the supposedly bad things I've done to his family. I believe that will be the easiest way to break my curse. But the problem is that I rarely see him here. He's usually at the palace. In order for this arrangement to work, I'll need to be in the palace. I, for one, think it's a terrible idea. What if... Dolores' voice trails off. She averts her gaze to the floor, her expression a mixture of anxiety and solemn consideration. What if what? Is there something I should know? Both the witch and the fairy just stare at me silently. After a few moments, Parfait speaks. You'd be far away from us, princess. We wouldn't be able to assist you. Witches could be lying in wait for you, knowing that you're the true crown princess of Anjou. They might seek to use you for their own purposes. What sorts of purposes? Why would the witches be after me in the first place? Many of them have been corrupted by the Tenebron. Darkness has invaded their hearts, making them bitter. By the way, I have recorded so many fucking videos today, guys. You don't understand. I've recorded so many videos, and I'm gonna record another one after I'm done with this. I am really get back on this grind. This is going up on my Patreon, but still. Many of them simply want to see the fairy tale curses continue on undisturbed. This is all just speculation, but it's better to be safe rather than sorry. What would you have me do? Delora? I have an idea. I think I can get her into the palace and make sure there's someone there to look out for her. How? Just trust me. Tomorrow, the Ice Princess returns to her palace. I have a bad feeling about this. This cannot be happening. Don't dilly-dally. The princess will soon be awake and expecting her new maid. I closed my eyes and suppressed the urge to groan. How is it that Delora was able to turn me into Emmeline's personal maid? She thought this would be funny, did she? Well, I'll make her pay for this. I expect you not to be late again. We have very strict rules on how the palace staff should behave. I'm not exactly sure how Delora managed this. She told me she was going to cast a spell on me and that it would be over as soon as I opened my eyes. I closed my eyes, and sure enough, when I opened them, I found myself here in a maid uniform. What did she do? The maid continues to babble at me. How annoying. I pretend to listen to her as she leads me through the palace hallways. Emmeline and Rod's chambers are located here. Oh! We come to a halt when Emmeline suddenly appears from around the corner. Your Highness? The maid ducks into a neat curtsy. Emmeline's eyes meet mine. I tense as I wait for any signs of recognition from her, but she only gives me a curious look, as if she's wondering who I am. She clearly doesn't recognize me. The maid suddenly reaches back and pulls at my shoulder, forcing me into a bow. You are in front of the Crown Princess of Anjou. Show some respect, girl. My apologies, Your Highness. She's new and clearly needs to be taught some manners. Excuse me? Oh, please, there's no need for that. What is she trying to achieve by pretending to be kind to a palace maid? Pretending? Pretending? You do not know your stepsister at all. What the fuck? Who's she trying to fool? Your Highness, this is your new personal maid. Elaine glances at the maid, looking confused. Why do I need a personal maid? It's by the king's orders, princess. Emmeline turns to look at me again. What's your name? She's talking to you, girl. I scowl at the maid before facing Emmeline. I cannot believe I have fallen so low that I'm now being ordered around by a maid. Achille. It's nice to meet you, Achille. I hope we can get along. She's very sweet. I don't know why our character hates her so much. When I do not respond, Emmeline's face falls. I was just heading to breakfast with my family. Of course, Achille will escort you to the dining hall. I raise my eyebrows at the maid, irritated. There's no need for concern. I can get there on my own. I breathe a sigh of relief. I'm not here to babysit her. The maid leans forward and whispers something in my ear. I don't know how it is that you landed this position, but you owe the royal family your diligence and respect. If you continue to show disrespect, I will be having a word with the king. The maid pushes me forward so that I'm forced to stand next to Emmeline. She will escort you to the dining hall, Your Highness. Her job requires that she follow you everywhere in case you require assistance with anything. But it's almost time for breakfast, Princess Emmeline. Emmeline frowns and looks at me. I'm so sorry. What's she apologizing for? Good morning. Good morning. It seems you've met your personal maid. The king's eyes widen as soon as he spots me. You look familiar. Does he recognize me? I feel a little tremble in my heart as I consider that hope. Are you not the girl who came to the gates before? I deflate with a soundless sigh. He remembers me as the peasant. This is the first time I'm meeting you as Emmeline's personal maid. What's your name? Achille. That is a lovely name. We're glad to have you here, Achille. The king gives me a warm smile. The softness of his gaze makes me angry. He never treated me so kindly when he remembered me as his own daughter. Emmeline takes her seat while I walk to stand at the walls beside the other maids and butlers. The door opens and Rod walks inside. He greets the king, Ophelia, and then his sister. He's just about to take a seat when his eyes suddenly fall on me. The shock is apparent on his face. Rod, is something wrong? I see there's a new maid on staff. His tone is almost accusatory. I bristle at his words and I'm about to say something when Ophelia speaks. She's Emmeline's new personal maid, Achille. Rod stares at me for a few moments, his expression unreadable. Eventually he moves to take his seat. I stand silent and watch the royal family eat their breakfast. The small area is filled with happy conversation. The four of them smile at each other when they speak, and it's easy to see how comfortable they all are with each other. When I was still here, our meals were always so quiet. But everyone looks so happy now. I bite my lip to will the heavy feeling away. Rod told me that before, but I didn't want to believe him. I turn back to the conversation at hand. We have something very important to discuss with you, Emmeline. Oh? I've brought this up before, but now the matter is more pressing. Is this about... Yes, this is about the ball. Ooh, we get to go to a ball in this route? Okay. Ophelia gives the king a disapproving look. dear. I know it seems a strange proposition, but this is royal tradition. Elaine is at a suitable marrying age, and this ball may yet help her find a suitor. But a husband? Emmeline's cheeks are tinted pink. A royal ball for Emmeline? For her to find a husband? I never would have agreed to such a thing. The king never forced me into one because he knew that. I will not force you to marry someone you do not love, Emmeline. We agreed on this ball to uphold tradition. All eligible wow, holy fucking shit. All eligible bachelors will be invited in 4 months' time, and you will choose the man you want to court you. I did find my true love through a ball, after all. He glances at Ophelia, who responds with a fond smile. Her expression falls back into something more worried when she looks at her daughter. But what if I can't choose anyone? We'll throw one ball, as per tradition. We will not force you into another ball if you do not find a good suitor, but we must uphold traditions at least once. Perhaps this will push you to think more about the future. How old is Emmeline? Is she... Because I don't think it's ever mentioned if she's younger than us or older than us. I know Rod is 2 years younger than us, but is she, like, our age? Is she older than us? Is she 1 year younger than us? It's not stated explicitly. I will not put any added pressure on you, Emmeline, but I would be happy to see grandchildren before I have to give up my throne. I'm not getting any younger, you know. Her embarrassed look. Father! I can tell that the king is trying to make light of the situation, but there's an undertone of seriousness. Emmeline eventually sighs, then slowly nods. I understand. My gaze shifts to Rod to search for a reaction, but his expression is impassive. No reaction at all. Did he know this was gonna happen? Sorry, I was misjudging, my friend. But can I really be the princess the kingdom of Anjou deserves? I feel so unprepared. Sorry, I don't know why that took so long for me to read. Jesus. You're the crown princess of Anjou. You must be confident. Emmeline looks down, looking genuinely distressed. I'm finished. May I be excused? But, sweetheart, you've barely touched your food. You may. Emmeline stands up and ducks into a quick curtsy before rushing from the room. I don't move until I feel Rod's glare on me. I realize that I meant to follow Emmeline. Excuse me. I curtsy and follow after Emmeline. I barely make it a few steps away from the dining hall before the door flies open and Rod is rushing after me. What are you doing here? Okay. Best choice is to answer him, so I'm here to break my curse. You expect me to believe that when you've had people offering to help you at the market? Rod's expression changes, anger clear in his eyes. No, I know why you're really here. What are you talking about? You thought you might take back what's rightfully yours, didn't you? You've no qualms about hurting my family again. I stared at him, nonplussed by his accusations. I carefully quelled the simmering anger inside me. The last thing I want is to be fired before I break my curse. I am not here to hurt anyone, so stop accusing me of such things. We glare at each other in silence. I'd always thought Rod was closed off and quiet, but his emotions are always blazing in his eyes. You shouldn't be here. Rod steps back, but his gaze is still fierce. I don't have time for this. I'm gonna go find Emmeline. Why? So you can insult her? No, because it's now my job to attend her. Excuse me. The last place I expect to find Emmeline is in the throne room. Much to my surprise, I find her standing alone inside, staring up at the throne. Oh! When she turns to face me, she has a guilty expression on her face. I'm sorry. What's she apologizing for? I was very rude earlier, walking out on everyone at breakfast. Emmeline gazes back at the throne and sighs. I'm sure any other girl would be happy to have a ball. I mean, it's like something out of a fairy tale. But I She sighs once again and looks down at her clasped hands. It all sounds so perfect in the fairy tales. These days, 3 days is all it takes before everyone found their true love. But I don't think that's how it works out in real life. Do you? I have nothing to say in response when Emily turns her beseeching gaze to me. I don't know how I'm supposed to marry someone I barely even know. Understandable. Is this really what it means to be the crown princess? Isn't this precisely what you wanted? Excuse me? When your mother married the king, you became a princess. You went from rags to riches overnight. I can't keep the bitterness in my voice from my voice when I speak. Oh well. Your life is playing out like Cinderella's, is it not? All you're missing are the glass slippers, and even then I'm sure the king could arrange for a pair. I can't understand why you're so unhappy. Neither can I. Emily turns away from me to face the throne once more, and in the sun that streams through the window, I see something shining on her cheeks. Is she crying? I'm so ungrateful. Achille, what would you do? What? If you were in my place, if you became crown princess overnight, would you go through the ball? For the sake of Angille's tradition? For the sake of your role? I would never do anything so worthless. The king never brought up the subject with me. He most likely knew I would have refused. Emmeline suddenly pats her cheek and turns to me, a wry smile on her face. I could do with some fresh air. Shall I go to my friend's shop in town? We've only just exited the throne room when Emmeline stops short and I almost bump into her back. Oh! Your Highness, what a pleasant... It's Sir Mithros! Sir Mithros abruptly stops to stare at me. Why is Sir Mithros looking at me so intently? Because he's a witch! Is something the matter, Sir Mithros? No, nothing at all, Your Highness. I'm just... amused. Amused? Oh, you haven't met my new maid. This is Achille. Achille? There's something in Sir Mithros' gaze that I do not trust. The silence is so stifling, so I curtsy at him. Sir? Charming. Sir Mithros turns his attention back to Emmeline. Where are you off to on this pleasant day? Oh, just off to visit a friend. Make sure you bring your guards with you, Princess. Of course. I wonder what's taking him so long. Emmeline decided to invite Rod to join us on her visit. One of the guards offered to get Rod for her, but he's still yet to return. Another stands with us by the gates, ready to escort us into town. Why does the king even keep those incompetent fools if they can't find a single person? Maybe we should go look for Rod. But then, what if he gets here as soon as we go searching for him? I sigh. I will go look for him. You can stay here. But you don't need to run errands for me. She's yet to ask me to do anything. What does she think a maid even does? I look at her solemnly, not answering her. Finally, she relents. I just saw a mouse. Thank you, Achille. I incline my head just slightly before walking off. I feel like a babysitter. I can't believe I have to search for Rod. It's only slightly better than being dragged around by that broom. I turn around the corner and nearly bump into someone. I take a few steps back just in time. Princess? I look up in shock. Fritz's surprise mirrors my own. How does he remember? Where have you been? I've been looking for you everywhere. He pauses to stare at my clothing. Why are you wearing a maid's uniform? Fritz, you remember who I am? I would never forget you, Princess Achille. But it does seem like I'm the only one who remembers you. But why does he remember us? See, this is exactly why I want to do his route, 'cause How does he remember us? Why does he remember us? What is going on, princess? The only people who remember me are witches, fairies, and Fritz, are you? I stop when I hear the sound of approaching footsteps. Fritz turns at the sound and then stoops low into a formal bow when he sees Rod. Your Highness? Rod's impassive face twists with annoyance when he sees me. Rod doesn't even acknowledge Fritz as he walks past him to stop in front of me. Shouldn't you be attending my sister? I don't understand. Prince Rod, you know why the princess is dressed like this? Rod is clearly just as surprised as I am that Fritz remembers me. You recognize her? You remember the princess too? But if you knew, why didn't you say anything when she first went missing? And can someone please explain to me why she's attending to Princess Emmeline? This is Fritz. I cut him off before he can ask any more questions. I feel Rod's gaze on my back as I turn to look at Fritz. No more questions. But, Princess, right now, I am a palace maid. Oh, what? It's a long story and I have no time to explain now, so do not ask. Fritz is clearly discontent. He seems to struggle for a few moments before he finally sighs and nods. Yes, Your Highness. Though it's nice to hear someone here speak my title, it will not do if Fritz calls me that on accident. It's just a shield for now. But I turn to face Rod. Emmeline's waiting. What? The guard couldn't even deliver her message? Where are you going? Emmeline wants to visit her friend's shop in town, and she wants you to go with us, Rod. Town? Ordinarily, I wouldn't mind Fritz joining us, but right now he might just be unnecessary company. He may very well give me away. Rod barely wants to speak with me when it's just the two of us. I doubt Fritz would make him more sociable. I'm assuming that accompanying you is not an option at this point. Yes. Fritz looks down for a moment before looking at Rod. I'm sorry to ask this of you, Your Highness, but since she refuses to let me do so, please look after Princess Sheila in my place. Ridiculous. I don't need to be coddled. Even if I did, Rod couldn't care less if I'm hurt. I'll do my best, Sir Fitzgerald. Huh? I can't tell if he's being genuine or not. Fritz bows to the both of us. Stay safe, Ashiel. And you, Your Highness. Rod turns me and to walk away without another word. Come on. Rod is silent as we make our way back to the palace gates. I'm still thinking about what he said to Fritz earlier. Why would Rod agree to Fritz's request? Because he just wanted him to leave? I stare at Rod's back as he walks in front of me. Sometimes I can't figure out what he's thinking. Rod, Ashiel! Emmeline beams when she catches sight of us. Are you ready? Rod crosses his arms. He does not look very happy with his sister. Even though Rod is younger, I cannot help but think that he often sounds like the older of the two. I'm busy, Emmeline. I can't keep dropping everything whenever you want to leave the palace. I'm sorry. I just really needed some fresh air today. You can get plenty of fresh air on the palace grounds. I felt I needed to be off the palace grounds. Emmeline's face drops as she looks down at the ground. Rod lets out an exasperated sigh before stepping inside the carriage. Come on. Rod? Just for an hour, okay? Thank you! I soon come to realize it's easier to walk around town now that everyone's forgotten who I am. The atmosphere around town feels brighter. All the spiteful stares are gone. Princess Emmeline! Oh, how are you doing? Is your wife feeling better? Emmeline has responded to most of the people who know her. She seems to know a good majority of the people in town. I hang back as Emmeline speaks with the man. The night escort hovers somewhere nearby, watching for disturbances. We're gonna take longer than an hour if she continues like this. I'm not gonna rush her. Do you need to return to the palace to continue whatever work it is you were doing? Rod raises an eyebrow at me. I do have to get back to my studies, but my family always comes first. If it makes Emmeline happy, then I'll gladly come with her to town. It's a small thing. Happy? I look more closely at Emmeline. She's smiling, but then she always smiles. I don't understand. She's more at ease talking to the townspeople sometimes because they don't judge her. Why would she have to worry about being judged? It's clear everyone adores her. Emmeline takes the man's hand in hers as she wishes him well. Rod points out the gesture. See that? That's goodness. Roasted. You could learn something from my sister, Ashiel. Is goodness pretending to be interested in the lives of strangers? Except for the fact that she's not pretending, she's actually interested, unlike you, Ashiel. Just putting that out there. Emmeline eventually says her goodbyes before walking toward a familiar store. It's the toy shop I visited with Emmeline and Rod before. I glance at Rod and notice the expression on his face. He seems conflicted. But why? But before I can ask, Rod marches in front of me and decisively pushes open the door. Because Viorica is a bit obsessed with him? That's probably why. When I enter, Emmeline's already hugging the shop girl, Viorica. Emmeline, you look as beautiful as ever. Oh, please, I look the same. You, on the other hand. Emmeline steps back before nodding, a bright smile on her face. Being in love suits you. When's the wedding? Wedding? She's already engaged? I catch a small movement out of the corner of my eye and turn to glance at Rod. I notice his fingers clench into a fist before he quickly hides his hand behind his back. Oh, he probably liked Viorica. That explains it. Though his expression is impassive as always, I notice a tenseness in his shoulders. Desmond and I haven't set a date yet, but it should be soon. Would you? Viorica trails off when she notices the rest of us. Hello, Rod. Viorica? His tone is surprisingly static. Last time he was here, I was sure he sounded friendlier. So, what can I help you with, Emmeline? Looking for another doll? Boop. Yes. Another doll? But Emmeline's not interested in dolls. Oh no, I'm just here to see you. I can't stay for long since Rod has things to do. Emmeline, I'll wait for you outside. Oh, okay. Okay. And it's my job to follow Emmeline around, but I'm not at all interested in hearing her talk to this girl. Does she even want me here? So, according to this, I don't know if this is true, but that's what this says. The best choice is to go outside. My time might be better spent trying to improve Rod's opinion of me. If I get him to tell me precisely what I've done wrong, I can make up for it. I hope that would give me a good deed. I curtsy to the two girls. Excuse me, Your Highness. I shall wait outside with Rod. I cough to clear my throat. With the prince. Okay, I won't be long. I move to stand next to Rod, who's leaning against the wall. Oh! A new picture! Let's go! Rod sighs in annoyance. Why do you keep following me? Tell me how to rectify whatever wrong I've done to your family. This again? I can't help but scowl at Rod's answer. You spout all this nonsense about goodness, but refuse to help me. How is that good? You haven't given me any reason to help you. What? If you're not serious about genuinely learning how to be good, then I'm not interested in helping you. Maybe I can catch him off guard by bringing up his response in the toy shop just now. Fine, then I'll make normal conversation. Who's Viorica to you? Has she done something to hurt your family too? Bjorka is a childhood friend. She's not like you at all. Oh, then why were you acting so cold to her? You obviously didn't want to be inside the shop. Rod looks away from me and absently kicks a pebble on the ground. He has a crush on her, bro. That is none of your business. I sigh, disappointed with Rod's reaction. Rod turns away from me as Emmeline exits the shop. Ready to go? Emmeline nods with a small smile. The two of us begin to make our way to the palace again. By the time we return to the palace, evening has fallen. That's a lovely picture, actually. I hope we're not too late for dinner. The minute the carriage doors open, we're greeted by two familiar faces. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithras stand before us. Yikes. Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, I was on my way to look for you when Sir Mithras informed me of your whereabouts. He glares at the knight escort and the knight shrinks back. Sir Alcaster turns sharply to me afterwards, his eyes narrowed. Why is he looking at me like that? It was getting late and the queen was worried. I'm sorry. Princess Emmeline, Prince Rod, it's almost time for dinner. Please, let me escort you inside. Sir Mithras gestures them to follow him. I'm about to follow after them when Sir Alcaster suddenly moves to block my path. His eyes are cold. He opens his mouth to say something, but then closes it and shakes his head. You're dismissed, girl. You may go back to your quarters. But that is an order. His gaze is piercing. Even when I was the princess, I was not able to stand up to that gaze. Yes, sir. After dinner, I make my way back to the room assigned to me. As I walk down the hall, I notice Rod heading in my direction. Rod? He suddenly grabs my arm and pulls me away down the hall. What the fuck are you doing? Huh? Where are you taking me? Rod doesn't answer and just continues moving until we reach an unfamiliar door. What is going on? Rod cuts me off by placing a finger on my lips. He looks around warily before finally pulling me in through the door with him. Dungeons? This place. I've heard of this place before, but I've never seen it. Is this the secret passage that leads into town? Rod doesn't answer me. He simply keeps walking and I see no other option but to trail after him. How is it you know this place? He still refuses to answer. Are you deaf? Rod suddenly stops and I bump into his back. I stumble back with a scowl. You ask too many questions. Because you refuse to answer any of them. I glare back at him until Rod makes an exasperated sound. Lady Parfait is the one who told me about this passage. It makes sneaking out of the palace easier. Parfait? She didn't give me any explanation as to how she knew of this place. There are only meant to be 2 copies of the keys. The king has one and Sir Alcaster has the other. Then why do you have a key? Don't tell me you stole it from the king. I am not a thief. Lady Parfait also has a copy. She saw fit to provide me with a key for my own use. What? How does Parfait have a key to this place? You'll have to ask her that yourself. Once we step into town, I realize where it is we're headed. We're going back to the Marken. Dolores, the first person we see as soon as we enter the Marken. Well, well, look what the cat dragged in. Dolores, you... Rod's glare silences me. He steps forward and points back at me, gaze icy. She's not staying at the palace. What? Dolores raises an eyebrow. Why is that? She works there now. I don't know what game you're playing, but I will not be a part of it. Excuse me? This is not a game. I don't want you meddling in my life as you meddled with hers. The room's temperature drops several degrees. Dolores stares at Rod, her expression suddenly lacking any emotion. Is Rod defending me right now? What is happening? Like, what is happening right now? Why is... Huh? Okay. With all due respect, Your Highness, I do not want to meddle with your wallowing. But just because you do not wish to break your curse doesn't mean that others shouldn't want to either. You should be humbled that our princess here thought you'd be able to help her. Rod raises an eyebrow. Where is Lady Parfait? Of course you want to talk to Parfait, because she puts things nicely. Fine, I'll fetch her for you. Delora curtsies as she sweeps out of the room. Rod sighs. He clearly looks irritated, but doesn't put a voice to his agitation. Now that we're alone in the empty room, the silence is deafening. Why do you want me out of the palace is the correct choice, supposedly. The further away you are from my family, the better. I glare at him. Your reaction is completely unwarranted. I'm trying to make up for what I've done in the past. Only because you're being forced to. Why should that make any difference? Besides, I'm still willing to help you break your curse, even though it appears you don't want to. I don't realize the anger inside of me at first, and then I notice that my hands are fists and that I'm shaking. You're angry at me for treating your family with unkindness, and yet you do not treat me with any respect or kindness either. Excuse me? I realize that this is the angriest I've felt in a long time, and it makes words fall out of my mouth. You're guilty of the same disrespect you hold me accountable for. We're both being cruel to family, aren't we? Rod's eyes are ablaze as he stalks towards me. He stops right in front of me, his mouth pressed into a firm line. As you are so fond of telling Emmeline, we do not share any blood. The only thing pulling us together is the king, and you do not share his morals. Remember this, Ashiel. You'll never be part of my family. And I'll never see you as a sister. Rod storms out of the reception area just as Delora enters. You two are the same... No wonder Rod is also cursed. Both of you are the same type of asshole. The same type of asshole. Like, what? Okay. So, if Ashiel, our main character, it's actually, by default, Lucette. But if Ashiel is 17, that means Rod is 15. So, why don't you two grow the fuck up, right? And talk to each other. Huh? How's that sound? Actually talk to each other. Take a moment to get to know each other. You are both too fucking old to be like this. You are both too fucking old to be this fucking childish. Even I knew at 15 and 17 to not be like that. There were still times when I was upset and frustrated with people, but did I go up and be like, you are not my family or some bullshit like that? Absolutely fucking not. Grow the fuck up. I'm 27, y'all. I am 10 years older than Ashiel / Lucette / whatever the fuck this character's name is. And I know this shit. I know they're all teenagers. I get it. But holy fucking shit. Grow up. You are not 5 and 10 and 6 anymore. Like, get over it. Grow the fuck up. Seriously. Both of you deserve to be cursed. Fuck both of you. Rant over. Sorry, looks like Parfait wasn't in. She pauses, then gives me a wry smile. Seems this partnership is going well. I throw my hands up in anger. He is infuriating! Not as helpful as you thought? I was surprised you were asking for his help in the first place. All I've been doing today is following around Emmeline, and he still finds reason to snap at me. In his eyes, I can do nothing right, even though I'm making an honest effort to break my curse. Huh. Sound familiar? Bitch. Because when you were the crown princess, anything everyone in your family did You thought they could not do right. You thought they could do nothing right. You hated every single one of them. Does that sound familiar, princess? Does that sound familiar? God. Even though I'm making an honest effort to break my curse, even though Emmeline was trying to make an honest effort to be your friend and sister, even though Ophelia was making an honest effort to see you as a daughter, because the king was making an honest effort to try and get his relationship with you back after your abusive mother fucked with your head? Huh! Delora eyes me as she slides down into a chair. Has he told you anything about his curse? Nothing useful. Delora sighs. Boys can be so secretive about the silliest things. Rod's been aware of how to break his curse from the very beginning. Then why hasn't he broken it? I've no idea. I think the only other person who knows the full terms and conditions of Rod's curse is Parfait. Parfait? Parfait has known Rod for a while. She convinced him to keep coming to the market even after he gave up on breaking his curse. So, how? Because his is the mermaid's curse. He doesn't have his voice. But how was that broken? Aside from King Triton fixing everything, like... Parfait also thinks that working with you will convince Rod to try finding another way to break his curse. Another way? Don't ask me. I don't know much about his curse either. But if you keep trying, you might convince Rod to talk. I doubt that very much. It seems that all I'm doing is convincing Rod that I don't deserve to break my own curse. Delora looks at me curiously for a few moments, then she grins. I have an idea. If it's another terrible idea... Oh no, this one's much better. I'll just stick around with you. You know, watch out for you. What? Delora? Watch out for me? Is she gonna turn into a doll again? Yeah! Let's go! I'm surprised when Delora suddenly stands before me in her doll form. There's no way you and Rod are gonna sort yourselves out without some kind of help, so I'll be tagging along. She's so cute. Her little doll form is so cute. Can I have that as a plush? Or an actual doll? It's much easier when I'm travel-sized. Why do I feel like she'll only make things worse? Come on, then. Delora somehow manages to jump into the front pocket of my apron, which is thankfully large enough to fit her doll body. Let's go find us a prince and get ourselves back to the palace. Chapter 4. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's been more than a week since Rod and I returned to the market. He's been avoiding me ever since that day. Not that we have much cause to be around each other nowadays. I'm constantly on my feet preparing for Emmeline's ball. This is ridiculous. Better to be busy than bored, princess. I stopped for a moment to better balance the pile of fabrics I'm carrying. One of the maids has ordered me to bring this to a designated room so it can be sorted out. I'm being reduced to fetching and carrying, and I've made no progress on accomplishing my first good deed. Damn, this one might take longer. Like, I think it was by chapter 3 or the start of chapter 4 that we got our first piece with the Karma/Claude route. This one might take some time. Shit. I doubt that simply following orders from the other maids will help me get my first good deed. I feel a shuffling in my pocket, and then notice Delora peeking her porcelain face out. Better to obey rather than disobey, at least. You're not gonna get a good deed by being stubborn. Anyway, you gotta put yourself out there a bit more, princess. You can't just do whatever's convenient for you. That's not good. Delora's been no help at all. Wait, I recognize this place. Isn't this where your room is? I step in front of the door to my old bedroom. Ever since I came here, I've been ignoring this room, not wanting to see what the king did to it during my absence. Do you not want to go in? Why should I? It's not as if it's my room anymore. Oh, you're no fun. Aren't you curious about how it's changed? I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. I guess a little peek wouldn't hurt. It's the same. I step into the room and close the door behind me. Huh? It's like stepping into the past. The room's exactly as I left it. It seems completely untouched. Moments later, Laura's standing in front of me in her human form. Looks like someone's been dusting in here. Strange, considering no one should remember who this room even belongs to. I glance around, eyes wide. Everything looks the same. I put the fabrics that I'm carrying down on my bed and make my way to the shelf where my dolls are displayed. My eyes pause on a specific doll. Oh. This one wasn't here before. Delora raises an eyebrow. Maybe you just don't remember that one because she wasn't very memorable? You do have a lot of dolls, after all. No, I know each of my dolls by name. This one's definitely new. She looks very similar to the dolls I saw at Viorica's shop. I quickly turn at the sound of the doorknob. My eyes move to Delora, but she's already turned into a doll and tucked herself into a corner of the shelf with the rest of my dolls. Emmeline stands in the doorway, eyeing me curiously. Achille, what are you doing in here? I made a mistake and thought I was supposed to bring these fabrics here. I hope she doesn't see through my lie. Emmeline shakes her head, smiling. It's not your fault, Achille. You're still getting used to the palace and its many rooms. I got lost here all the time when I first arrived, too. This room's interesting, though. Father expressly ordered that it be kept clean, but otherwise undisturbed. Why would he say that? He won't say why, but apparently this room is very special to him. Maybe it belonged to someone he cherished. Cherished? What a joke. Still, I can't help but feel hope at her suggestion. I don't think Father would like either of us being in here. We should leave soon. I only came here to put a ribbon on one of the dolls. One of the dolls? Yeah, I put one of my dolls here. She walks past me and picks up the doll I didn't recognize. Ah. I bought this. I know Emmeline always visited Viorica, but I didn't think she liked dolls. She always preferred receiving and buying books, so why does she have this doll? Do you like dolls? Well, I mean, I don't mind them, but I don't usually buy them for myself, no. So why'd you buy this one? Emmeline looks at the doll with a sad smile and shakes her head. I'm not sure. I bought it as a gift. I remember that much. I was gonna give it to someone who liked dolls, someone I wanted to befriend. Oh! Oh! Now I'm sad. You don't see me cry on this channel much. Wow! Wow. Well, I guess this isn't going on my YouTube channel. This is going on my Patreon. Wow. I don't know why that made me so emotional. Wow. Give me a minute. Wow. Yeah, Emmeline is far more mature than you and Rod, Achille, because that... Once again, I'm so sorry, everyone. I did not expect that to, like... just strike me in the heart right there. Wow. Goodness gracious. Yeah, overwrite save. I don't know why, but it feels right to leave the doll here until I can remember whom I was meant to give her to. Emmeline is still silent. Emmeline is silent for a moment before she turns to me with a bright smile. I know you have a delivery to make, but could you come with me to the palace entrance first? Mother's still busy talking with the cooks, so the fabrics can wait. I resist the urge to glare at her. She better not be dragging me around to do yet more errands. I'm expecting a delivery, and I might need your help. I thought so. I've no choice but to nod. Of course. I begrudgingly follow Emmeline towards the entrance, and there I see the delivery carriage. A familiar person stands beside it. Viorica! Emmeline pulls Viorica into a tight hug. I turn my attention away to glare at the number of boxes on the back of the carriage. I will no doubt have to help carry them inside. Get used to it. How are the preparations for the ball coming? Emmeline's smile seems forced at first, but then eases into something softer. It's going well, I suppose. How about the wedding? Desmond and I have finalized the date. It'll be 2 days after your ball. I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress. These two always talk so much when they get together. Yeah, that's what friends do. I ignore their chatter as I walk up to the carriage and observe the boxes piled inside. What's in the boxes? Oh! Viorica reaches out to grab one. She hands it to me. I'm helping with the ball decorations. I came by with part of the order today. Part of the order? Oh boy. Part of it? Careful, it's a bit heavy. I take the box from her hands and nearly stumble. This is heavy. Emily should have the male servants do this. Queen Ophelia placed quite a large order. I brought the more fragile decorations first. Wow, that took me a minute to read. I'm so sorry. Oh, the glass baubles and vases? I grit my teeth as I shift the box in my arms in an attempt to make it easier to hold. I thought you worked at a toy shop. Yes, but we also have aisles dedicated to specifically party decorations. What kind of toy shop is that? Achille, will you be alright? I feel annoyance shimmer within me. I'm obviously not alright. Emily reaches out to help me with the box, but she's too late. I've only taken one step forward when the box slides and I stumble. I manage to cradle it in my arms, but its weight is too much for me. Before I hit the ground, I feel strong arms around my waist, pulling me back upright. The box is taken from me. Oh! Okay. How strong is our 15-year-old little brother? My heart and mind are racing, and for a moment I can't comprehend what's just happened. Are you alright? Rod? I glance to the side and am shocked to see Rod standing there. The expression on his face gives nothing away, but with our close distance I can see some flicker of emotion in his bright eyes. Concern? Achille! I'm so sorry, are you okay? Rod pushes me and I stumble forward, almost tripping on the ground. He raises an eyebrow at me. Know your limits, Achille. I glare at him as anger begins to bubble up in my chest. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I clench my fists and take a deep breath to try and calm myself. I will not stoop to his level. He's the one being cruel here, not me. You shouldn't have stubbornly tried to carry something that was too heavy for you. I'll not take responsibility if you get hurt. Rod, you shouldn't be angry with her for trying to help me. It was my fault for giving her something so heavy. Viorica, what are you doing here? Rod's voice is still cold. Viorica looks startled by his tone. I only came to deliver some decorations for the ball. And you thought Emmeline and her maid could carry these things on their own? Rod, this is not her fault. I'm the one who chose to bring Achille with me. I underestimated the size of the delivery. Viorica was just delivering the supplies. At least she admits her mistakes. I never thought Rod would be so stubborn. Huh. Does that sound familiar, princess? Okay, I'm gonna stop. Emmeline's expression softens as she looks at her brother. She looks sad. Rod ignores her and picks up the box I'd been carrying. He begins to walk away before he suddenly stops and glances back at me. Come on. Rod? We're gonna call some servants to carry these boxes in. He turns around and begins to walk away. I'm Emmeline's personal maid, not his. I glance at Emmeline, who nods her head. I really am so sorry. Thank you for helping my brother, Ashiel. I curtsy ever so slightly before returning to Rod. Rod, wait. He picks up his pace as if trying to lose me. I turn the corner and barely stop myself before running right into Rod's back. What now? Why are you so angry at me today? I've barely even spoken to you. Your mere presence is enough to darken my mood. I glare at him and cross my arms. Yeah. Does all this attitude seem familiar, bitch? I'm sorry. I said I was gonna stop and I didn't, but come on. Funny, you call me cruel, but right now, you're worse than I ever was. I don't need someone who hasn't even managed a single good deed to lecture me. I have to try very hard to resist the urge to slap him. You were supposed to help me get a good deed. As I said before, I never agreed to this. I still refuse to help you. Rod starts walking again and I hurry after him. I can't help but recall how cold he was with Viorica earlier. I thought they were friends, but he treated her like this at the toy shop too. Why were you so angry with Viorica earlier? No reason. I raise an eyebrow when Rod quickly answers the question. Then you were cold for no reason. You have such a princely disposition. Rod frowns but has no rebuttal for my words. You must be generally cold and unfriendly. Excuse me? That would explain why you treated Viorica as you did. I thought you two were childhood friends. Viorica was always closer with Emmeline than me. We may have been friendly once, but we've since become distant. Distant? It's none of your business. I pause as we pass by my door. Remembering that I left both the fabrics and Delora inside, I make my way towards the door and open it. What are you doing? None of your business. Enjoy your field trip? I frown when I see her sitting on my bed in human form. What would you have done if it wasn't me? Us witches have a sense for these things. Delora? Rod slowly enters the room. It's nice to see you here, Lady Delora. Well, I guess it's technically deeper. It's nice to see you here, Lady Delora. I always want to give the rabbit a weird high-pitched voice, but I remember it's actually lower. Nice to see you too, little Sebby. Why are you here? Delora shrugs as she inspects her nails. She does have very nice nails, although I don't think the red quite goes with the purple and black. Maybe she could have gone with, like, a purple nail polish or something. I thought I'd help the princess here, since someone doesn't seem very willing. Rod furrows his eyebrows at her. I didn't... Yes, I know, you didn't sign up for this. But do you really think you have a choice, Rod? Delora looks at Rod pointedly. You know the consequences if this fails. Rod looks away, expression conflicted. Consequences? What are you talking about? Consequences for not helping me with my curse? Rod sighs heavily before turning back to Delora. He does not pay attention to me. I'm not the right person for this. It doesn't matter what you think. The princess thought you were, so suck it up and do your job. Rod's silent for a few moments before he finally faces me, looking resigned. I'll help you then, but don't expect me to change my opinion of you. I shrug at him. It's not like I was expecting you to in the first place. Delora grins with clear triumph. Good talk. Rod sighs. In order to achieve your good deeds, you're gonna need to mend what you broke before. I feel I already know what he's gonna say. My sisters always want to be your friend, so you must do just that. Show her kindness, and you may be able to get your first good deed through her. Show her kindness, huh? Delora decides to stay in my room for the time being, saying she believes Rod will be able to help me for now. Later, I make my way to the dining room with the fabrics and see Emmeline and Ophelia inside. Achille! Ah, I see you have the fabric. Thank you. Ophelia takes the topmost sample of fabric and begins to inspect it as Emmeline walks up to me. Where's Rod? He returned to his studies. Oh, right. He has history lessons today, and I'm yet to finish my history homework, which is due tomorrow. As Emmeline muses aloud, I ponder what Rod told me earlier. I must become Emmeline's friend, but is that really a good deed? I hope Rod didn't send the servants up before he went back to his room. I wanted to tell him that Vjork and I had already called on guards to bring the boxes inside. Maybe he decided to start his lessons earlier so he could make your dance lesson this evening. Dance lesson? Father wanted to hire the best dance instructor in Angil, but I honestly feel more comfortable with Rod teaching me. He's a good dancer, so Father allowed it. That's a surprise. I didn't know Rod could dance. He used to prefer singing, but then... I wanna be where the people are. I wanna see 'em dancing, walking along down those, what do you call them? Streets. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. Okay, I know my singing's not great, but I had to do it. Because he has the mermaid curse, I had to do it. Ophelia trails off. I know she's talking about the fairy tale curse, but I don't expect her to... Wow, I can speak English. Holy shit. Ophelia trails off. I know she's talking about the fairy tale curse, but I don't expect her to divulge such information to a maid like myself. He's decided to focus on his dancing for the past few months. Yep. I'm gonna run out of saves, baby. Okay. I need to stop singing. It's too fucking late for this shit. Oh yeah, I should probably switch. It's the third. No. It's the fourth. Yeah, okay. Ophelia glances down at the fabrics and looks up and smiles at me. Achille, would you mind helping me with this? I obediently walk over to the fabrics Ophelia wants me to look through. They're apparently samples for the tablecloth that'll be used during the ball. This is gonna be a long day. Rod comes immediately to the throne room after his history lessons to start on his dance lessons with Emmeline. I'm only standing here because it's my responsibility as her personal maid to watch over her as she practices. Ouch, as she steps out of rhythm and Rod sighs at her. You're doing it wrong. That's the 10th time. Sorry. Again. They start from the beginning and I'm unable to step on my own side when Emmeline messes up the same step again. This would make the 11th time. I really am terrible at this. Would you rather have the royal dance instructor teach you? He has more experience teaching than I do. Oh no, I really do want you to teach me, Rod. I'm sorry that I'm such a slow learner. You're always good at everything. Singing, dancing, cooking. Prince Rod cooks? Yes, Rod does cook. He's very good at it. You didn't have to tell her that, Em. Does it really matter? I love bragging about how talented my little brother is. Oh, that's so sweet. I see a tinge of pinks in Rod's cheeks as he turns away. Aww. Is he embarrassed? Emmeline looks down at the floor, her smile smaller. I wish I was as talented as you, Rod. I'd always thought Emmeline was overly optimistic. She always seemed to bounce back with a smile, no matter how many times I pushed her away. Now I can't help but reconsider that thought. No shit, buddy. Still, seeing her like this only irritates me. Pitying yourself will get you nowhere. Not everyone can be perfect at everything when they first start out. Oh. I remember when Mother gave me similar lessons. She was always such a harsh teacher, and she hated when I showed any weakness in front of her. She made me keep practicing until I perfected whatever it was she wanted me to do. Failure was never an option. I never had time for self-pity. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, just try harder. Let failure inspire you to do better. Ashiel, that was... She's right, Rod. Instead of complaining, I should be working harder. I let out an exasperated sigh and crossed my arms. You always look at your feet whenever you reach the underarm turn. Instead, focus on counting your steps and let Prince Rod lead you. Worrying too much on your next step is what puts you off rhythm. Emmeline stares at me. Can you dance, Ashiel? I can. Why? Wow, that's amazing! There's nothing amazing about me being able to dance. Her praise makes me embarrassed regardless. Maybe I could learn faster, seeing someone else do the dance first. What are you talking about? It might be easier to copy the steps if I can have someone perform them first. Okay, I'm assuming this is where I say refuse. She turns to me suddenly, eyes bright. Would you help me? I meant to assist Emmeline in any way that I can, but dancing with her brother? Surely a lowly maid should not be doing this. Says refuse is the best option. Even if I do agree, I doubt Rod would even want to dance with me. You can't learn how to dance by watching someone. You have to practice the steps yourself. But if you need a break, you can just say so, Em. No, really, I find it easier learning through visuals. Sorry for making you uncomfortable, Ashiel. Let's just continue our practice, Rod. Emmeline smiles at me, but it's obvious that she looks more disheartened now. Rod looks at his sister before shaking his head. He turns to walk towards me. He holds out his hand. Would you dance with me? What? Rod leans closer to me and speaks in a low voice. Play along. This is for Emmeline. He's actually... Hold on. Lower voice. He's actually curious about your dancing, princess. Why am I giggling at this like it's their stepbrother? Ugh. I'm surprised when Sebi suddenly whispers to me. I can tell it's Sebi by the change in the pitch of voice. Oops. Sorry, Rod. Rod glares at Sebi before looking at me again. Is Sebi... Wait! Sebi Sebastian, like Sebastian the Crab. Duh, I'm fucking stupid. I didn't even get that in my first playthrough. Jesus Christ. I should have gotten that way before now. Well... I shift my gaze to Emmeline, who's practically beaming. I sigh and take Rod's hand. I know Emmeline doesn't like treating me as a maid, but this is a little much. Fine, just this once. Oh. That's a nice picture. I put my hand on his shoulder and he places a hand on the small of my back. Rod looks at me but quickly averts his gaze. Is something wrong? I didn't think I would ever have to dance with you is all. It's funny. Neither did I. Rod looks at me again. This time he has an uncomfortable scowl on his face. He's not the only uncomfortable one here. We both start dancing and I mentally start counting the steps. It's been a long time since I last danced with anyone, but the steps come to me naturally. The dance is rather simple. While Rod and I move stiffly, I cannot help but notice his careful footwork. I realize that Rod is a pretty decent dancer. Of course, I would never openly admit that. When we stop, I hear Emmeline clapping her hands as she looks at the both of us in awe. You really are a good dancer! Thank you so much for showing me the steps. Now I know for sure what to do during that part. I just shrug at her before stepping back into the corner. Emmeline takes her position in front of Rod once more. This time she has a bright smile on her face. I can't believe something as simple as that has made her so happy. At the end of the day, Emmeline's managed to do the steps correctly. She tells me many times how grateful she is for the help. After practice, I return to my room and retire to bed. I think about how happy Emmeline was. How can such small things make a person so happy? You stepped out of rhythm again, Achille. But, Mother, this is really hard. A princess never complains. You must perfect this waltz by tomorrow. Otherwise, I will not allow you to play with your dolls for the day. But if you have time for objections, you have time to push yourself harder. Now, once again, from the top. Bum. The following days are uneventful. Emmeline continues her dance lessons with Rod. Her steps are still far from perfect, but I can tell she's improved since my demonstration with Rod. Meanwhile, Rod still chooses to ignore me most of the time, though I've noticed he's less cold than usual. At least he doesn't snap at me for no good reason anymore. The Delora is no longer assisting me. She insists on staying in my room more often. She says there's something important she wants to investigate, and I can't even guess what it might be. I prefer not having her around anyway. Her constant chattering makes it difficult to focus on anything. Right now, I'm still trying to figure out how I can achieve my first good deed. Almost 3 months have passed since I was first cursed, but I've yet to complete my first good deed. Damn! These are my thoughts as I head back to my sleeping quarters after dinner that night. Emmeline excused me not long ago, insisting that I go on to my own room before she went to hers. Quick save! I'm walking down the hallway when I notice Rod heading down a familiar path. I follow after him. Are you going to the Marken? Rod jumps and turns around. The surprise in his face quickly fades to annoyance. Don't do that again! And no, not today. Since I came here, I found out that Rod occasionally sneaks out of the palace at night through the secret passageway to go to the Marken. Even now, I'm still confused as to why he goes there. He said before that he'd given up on breaking his curse, which makes me wonder why he still visits. It also makes me wonder why he would refuse to break his curse in the first place. Is he okay being the way that he is? Or is his curse just really difficult to break? Probably all of the above. Why were you cursed, Rod? I'm not answering that question. Why? I can't help you break your curse if you refuse to tell me anything. I told you before, I don't need your help. Okay. But I chose you as my partner. You help me, and I help you. It's highly likely that breaking Rod's curse will also count for a good deed. I mean, fair. Rod scowls at me and crosses his arms. I'm afraid that isn't how this works at all. The sound of footsteps The sound of footsteps keeps me from coming back with a retort. We both turn to see Sir Alcaster approaching us. Prince Rod, good evening. Good evening, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster turns to me and raises an eyebrow. Shouldn't you be attending to Princess Emmeline? Rod silences me with a look. He moves to stand in front of me, shielding me from Sir Alcaster's gaze. We were just about to go to her. Let's go, Achille. Rod strides away, and I quickly curtsy to Sir Alcaster before following after Rod. Whew. Sorry, my nose was itching. I can still feel Sir Alcaster's gaze on my back as I walk away. I try my best to suppress a shudder. Rod and I walk through the hallway in silence. We both stop in our tracks when we hear the clattering of silverware. What is happening? I look around and realize that the sounds come from behind a set of doors that's slightly open. The dining hall? Oh no! That's Emmeline's voice. We don't see Emmeline when we enter the room, but there's a dizzying array of cutlery set out on the table. Emmeline? Emmeline surprises us both by crawling out from underneath the table. She flashes us an embarrassed smile as she gets to her feet, holding several forks and knives in her hands. What are you doing here? You should be getting ready for bed. Sorry. I eye the silverware on the table. I thought I could practice before I sleep today. It's already been an incredibly long day for her, and she's still doing this? I watch as Emmeline puts the cutlery back onto the table in the wrong places. Ah, she's trying to learn how to set a table. To be fair, I don't know how to set a table either. I really don't. Like, especially for formal occasions, I'm just like, I don't fucking know, man. You need to rest, Em. I will after I practice the placement one last time. She smiles at him before returning to the table. I don't know why a person would need so much cutlery. 1 fork, 1 spoon, and 1 knife should be more than enough for any meal. I agree. And all these glasses. If I recall correctly, this one's for water, this one's for red wine, and this one for white wine. And the best choice here, supposedly, is to give her the correct answers. That flute is for champagne, the other one's for sherry. Oh, right. But there's 2 more. The other is for juice, and the other glass is for dessert wine. What the fuck is dessert wine? The dessert wine glass will only be used during the dessert course. Okay. I don't know this shit. And the juice glass is only used when juice is being served as a course. Otherwise, it's placed next to the water goblet. I see. I see Rod staring at me out of the corner of his eyes. His lips twitch before he turns back to his sister. It looked like he was about to smile. Then what are these for? Emily points out the group of forks in front of her. Probably salad forks. You use those for every day, Your Highness. You should know the answer. Oh, you use those every day, Your Highness. You should know the answer. Emily points at them as she rattles off names. Dinner fork, fish fork, salad. Correct. You know so much about etiquette too. You're really incredible, Achille. You'd make a better noblewoman than I would. And if I told her I was a noble, it's not if she'd believe me. I just read a lot about these things. You read and know enough to put them into practice? That's amazing. Especially since you haven't been with us for long. Right, Rod? Rod shrugs. He does not, much to my surprise, disagree. Perhaps you should be my teacher, Achille. I can learn so quickly from you. Emmeline quickly straightens out the cutlery. Now that I think about it, I've come to realize that Emmeline's much more than she appeared to be. It's probably because I'm forced to spend so much time with her as her maid. She's different. She's flawed and not as conceited and more humble than I'd originally thought. Yeah, I think the people reading this knew that from the beginning. Maybe I should try lending her a hand. I may not be one of your tutors, but if you need help with your lessons, just ask me and I'll do what I can for you. Achille? I glance at Rod, who is once again wearing that expression of surprise. I shift my attention to Emmeline once again. You only have 1 month left to prepare, and as your personal maid, I feel it's my responsibility to help you in whatever ways I can. Achille. Emmeline wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, and that's when I notice something glistening on her cheeks. Is she crying? You're extremely kind, Achille. Thank you. I'll definitely take you up on that offer. I'm still looking at Emmeline when I catch a faint glow coming from the pendant on my chest. That's right! What just happened? Oh, what a pretty necklace you have, Achille. Thank you. Anyway, for now, I think both of us would benefit from sleep. After escorting Emmeline back to her room, I walk out into the hallway in a daze. What was that light? You got a good deed, girl. It seems like you actually managed to obtain your first good deed. Ugh. I didn't know he was still here. I look down at my pendant, astonished at what I see. A piece of the glass slipper? I gingerly touch the new piece that's hanging next to my existing glass slipper pendant. It is real. You're not too bad after all. Did he just compliment me? What? Rod turns away. Nothing. He walks away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Alright. Could I do 10 more minutes? I could, but we have just gotten into chapter 5. So I'm gonna end it here. So thank you for watching, everyone on Patreon. I will see you in the next one I post. I am probably gonna... I have videos recorded for my YouTube channel up until... Let me take a look real quick. Up until the 23rd. And today is the 18th. So I will be okay for a little bit, but I will probably record more videos tomorrow, or at least one more video. But I will also be doing more for Patreon, since I have videos scheduled so far ahead. Although I will say that March 23rd is going to come pretty fucking quick. But thank you guys again for hanging out with me on my Patreon. If you are watching this, I appreciate you for donating to me. I might make the first part free, simply to like get people interested, but this part is going to be under the paid tier. So thank you again, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.
I've been feeling so small, watch the clock ticking off the wall, but tonight I'm